And a really important point, and we haven't said it, and I can't believe we didn't say it. When you've made your CV and you've put it all together and it's all done and dusted, export that thing as a PDF.
Oh, God.
Export as a PDF. Do you know what? I might even make the title of this video, Export as PDF, the importance of CVs. Hello, and this is a bit bizarre, isn't it? We've just got back from Cannes, and despite what my Instagram stories and posts said, it did actually rain.
Yeah, it did.
It did.
Day one.
Day one it rains, and well, actually it was really hot after that, so there was like 4 hours of rain, hence the umbrellas. But turns out we don't need these anymore, so let's put them down. Okay, that's fucked. Oh, is it one of those ones? Oh my!
That's really
Put it down and pop it up again. Wow.
That's just... I'm keeping that. And it's broken.
We've got back from Cannes. It was fantastic. We had a brilliant time. The champagne's all gone, so yeah. Cheers. It's good to see you. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
It was a fantastic time.
Oh, it was beautiful.
It was sunny. We were on the south of France. Soft. Shout out to Billy Price.
Soft. Went in soft.
We had a really good time, and it's not really somewhere I'd recommend actors to go, but really, because there's not a lot there for you. But for us filmmakers and directors and producers and ADs, it's a great opportunity for us to essentially reconnect with some of the people that we haven't seen for a long time. The entire film industry is in one place for one weekend only, and it's the south of France in the sunshine, and
you can just see all the crew walking around.
Yeah.
We always say it's just like walking around Pinewood at the busiest time of year.
It is. It's literally like walking around Pinewood, but everyone's had a few drinks.
But sun's blaring, yeah. There's loads of drinks and then just brilliant atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it goes on till 3.
Yeah, 3 every day, and then you sleep for a couple of hours and start it all over again. Yeah.
And really good food.
Really good food. Got some brilliant pictures of fish, which I'll put up right now.
And he couldn't eat it. Oh, he didn't like that one.
I could eat it, I just didn't want to harm the fish.
Okay. Poor fuckers.
They were already dead. Yeah. He killed them. So yeah, we had a brilliant time there. Went to the rain dance villa party by the pool. Met a very peculiar bloke who I think by about 6 p.m. had already had too much to drink.
Oh yeah, he wasn't
in a good way.
That's why we ran out of beer very quickly.
Yes, they did run out of drinks. Rain dance. Sorted out.
Rosé.
Which made us think we should have an Actors Studio villa party next year. Yeah. If you'd be interested, please leave a comment down below, because this is genuinely something we're considering doing, an Actors Studio villa party in Cannes. In Sof. Yeah, it was a really good time. And speaking of all of the networking we were doing out there, we thought, why don't we get back whilst we're in network mode and talk about the importance of marketing for screen actors. So we're starting a 3 to 4 part series, undecided yet, on the importance of marketing in 3 to 4 key areas. And we're starting off with today's episode with CVs. The most boring topic, but we thought if we get it out of the way, then we've done it and we don't have to talk about it anymore. We're talking about CVs in this episode, and we hope to move on to showreels as well in the next one. So without further ado, let's get on with it. The thing we want to talk about is a CV and how to create a CV, how to have a creative one, something that stands out, looks sort of polished and professional. We're laughing because
I'm just thinking about my CV.
I'm thinking about mine as well, and it's awful, it's appalling. But we're here to give the advice to you lot. This isn't, it doesn't mean we take our own advice. What, you think we actually do any of this stuff that we talk about? No. But we've talked about actors who, and bearing in mind, we receive hundreds of CVs throughout the year, right? People that are attending acting courses with us, people that we're working with on our own projects, right? So we end up looking at a lot of CV material, and it's really interesting. There are essentially 3 sort of basic fundamentals to a CV that should look half decent.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how those basic fundamentals, when missed out, immediately you see a CV and you just think, do you know what? This is awful, you know? And I think the first point is layout.
Yeah.
Right? And again, it sounds really straightforward and simple, but you get something through, and if it's got sort of no methodical order to it, I immediately sort of switched off, and I'm like, what is...
And especially if you're jumping around sort of times as well.
What do you mean by times?
So it's sort of like, you know, when you're looking at something like experience or something, and you see, I did this yesterday, but then 6 years ago I did that, but then 3 years ago I did that, and it's just like, whoa.
Yeah. Have a timeline, and generally, I mean, if your acting career is going in the right direction, generally your work is better in order anyway, right? Yeah. Your oldest stuff is sort of, you know, you get a small gig and your stepping stone in your student films and things, and you work your way up to sort of bigger professional jobs. So having things in date order, I tend to say, you know, just follow the format of IMDb. You know, you've got a list of the production names, the date it was released, maybe the director you were working with, the production company if it's one worthwhile mentioning. You know, if it's a production company nobody's heard of, it doesn't need to be in there. No. If you're doing something for Marvel or for Lucasfilm, you know, slap that in there. The role you were playing, if you got a role name, and you know, just keep it really straightforward and stripped back. People seem to think they need to overwork the layout and have all these crazy ways of displaying really quite straightforward information.
Yeah, I was going to say, me personally, when I'm reading CVs, if it's over a page, sometimes it can get a bit complicated because it's all about it being effective, neat, as you say, to the point. Look, this is what I've done, this is what I'm about, this is what I look like. You know, we don't need to know what you did for GCSEs, we don't need to know what you did for education beyond, after...
It's relevant. I'm so sorry, I'm ruining the set.
Creating a scene.
Just repeat that quick.
I think page count's important. You know, we see a lot of CVs, and when they trail... This guy.
They're all over there. But we started talking about page count earlier on, didn't we?
Yeah, I think that's so important. If you can condense all your work and all your credits, don't you laugh? If you can condense everything down to a page, you're onto a winner here. Because as soon as you see that, you see all the experience, the credits, what you look like, everything like that, all in one page. When you start spinning onto 2-3 pages, it becomes... everything sort of gets watered down.
Yeah, I think actually the point there is, even if you're an actor with loads and loads of credits, right, and you're managing to get onto 2-3 pages, you've still got too much on your CV. Yeah. And I think, like you say, things get watered down. If you're onto 2-3 pages, chances are you're putting credits in there which, if you've got that many credits, don't need to be in there. If you've got enough credits to fill out 2-3 pages, cut it down to the best ones. Or if you haven't got those list of credits, chances are you've been talking about yourself too much and waffling on about your life story, where you came from, where you grew up, what you want to achieve. No one cares.
The about me.
Yeah, the about me section. Oh. And I think that brings us on to having talked somewhat about layout. And actually, one thing, we will put some example layouts and links to example layouts in the link below, in addition to
websites where we think, you know, they give you some formats and things like that you can look at.
Really easy templates.
Yeah, really easy templates, and you can branch off them, you know. So
from going from layout, keeping it straightforward, keeping the list formula, having a picture at the top, your name at the top being your acting name, bringing us on to content, right? And what is it that really should be on this CV? And I know we've touched on a few bits already, but I really want to demystify what it is that should be on there, because actors sometimes presume, oh, it's a CV, therefore I'm going to spill everything about my life on this CV. And I think with any profession, whether you're going for a finance job or a marketing job, if you have multiple skills, generally I think you have a different CV for what it is you're applying for, you know? And, you know, that's just sort of understanding of applying for roles and how job applications work generally, if you're applying for a marketing role, you're not going to have loads of information on there about your skills in finance. I mean, there might be some relevant parts, but it's not going to be a finance-based CV. It's going to be a marketing-based CV. And any skill that you have relevant to marketing should be on that CV, right? And it's the same with the acting. You're an actor. We don't necessarily need to know about a breakthrough personal experience you had on a holiday in Dubai. And you might think we're joking. We're not when we say that some of the CVs we receive are like autobiographies.
Yeah, I mean, we've received literally like a Word document. It was just a photo, and then and I've done this, and I've
paragraphs.
and it's this big bulky text listing everything. No template, no layout, and you'll switch off on the first sentence.
You will. One thing I'd suggest doing is, it's going to be completely random, completely bizarre. Go on the website Auto Trader, okay, and put in a few specs about a car, and you'll receive a long list of cars that are for sale. Click on one of those pages and see how these pages are laid out in terms of what information they're sharing about the car. There is not a huge long paragraph about how many fantastic drives this car has had along the south coast, about how many family holidays it's been on, and Charlie the baby's vomited in the back multiple times on the middle seat, and it's got this little quirky creak it does when you go around corners. None of that information is on there. It's the key selling points of the car. How old it is, right? How many wheels it's got, how fast it can go, a short description trying to sell it that highlights some of those key features, and that's kind of it, and a picture, and a multitude of pictures.
Mileage, what it's done in its life, where it's been.
Life. And if you use that as an idea for how to put a CV together, that's your content done, right? So let's break that down in acting terms. We got some pictures, right? We got our headshots.
Headshots, so crucial.
Headshots. Let's talk about them.
Let's go for headshots.
A headshot. Yes, it means a picture of your head, but also there's a number of variables which should be considered when you're getting a headshot done.
Yeah, I think there could be one of the most important things on that CV, your headshot, because we need to see what you look like. We need to, you can tell a hell of a lot from someone's look. They're, if they're instantly for jobs, not so much for what we do. We get a lot of, students come through, so we're not looking for them for roles or anything like that. But when you're looking for roles, you can look at someone instantly and you can see if they're right. If you've got that image in your head who you want that person to be, you can quickly see that. And headshots, and they have to be good headshots. I mean, we have seen some headshots in our time. I mean, I wouldn't even call them headshots.
No. They've got to look like you. I know it's awful, it's a pain, and no one wants to look like yourself, but it needs to look like you. What do you look like? There's nothing worse than basing an audition or self-tape off a CV and a showreel, or some small showreel material. Using somebody's headshot to get an idea of what it is you think they look like. They turn up and you think, who's that? You don't look anything like that. And that's why when you are looking to get a headshot, and don't get me wrong, there are so many providers and it can be hard. You've got to get somebody to take your picture that is an acting headshot photographer. An actor's headshot photographer. Not your mate next door who's a wildlife photographer and can take a really nice picture because they've got the right lights. An acting headshot photographer who knows exactly what it is that is required in these photographs. And, there are a number of reputable people. There's a company at the minute that's very popular and they're taking really nice images, and that's YellowBelly Photo, right? Now, why would you go to a reputable actor's headshot photographer as opposed to your mate next door who takes equally really nice images? Well, because if a casting director sits down and they look at a photo, a headshot, they generally will know pretty quickly who took that photo. Based on the style and the look, they will know, it was this headshot photographer who took it. And if it's a reputable one, they will see you in that light. They will see, okay, this is a half-decent product. This is a half-decent actor who's gone and got decent headshots done, or their agent has taken them and got them to a good headshot photographer, right? And that goes a really long way, as opposed to a casting director seeing a photo and thinking, oh, I don't recognise that star, I don't recognise that look. And you might think, really, are they going to recognise that? Yes, absolutely. They're looking at them every single day.
And when you go for headshots, of course, you have opportunities to get various looks and get a wide spectrum of what you can play: beard, long hair, short hair, etc. But what's important is when you choose the headshot that will go on your CV, it needs to be the one that currently displays you. There's been time and time again where, and that comes to, unfortunately, headshots are going to be a reoccurring thing. You don't just get one and then see you later, I'm done with headshots. It's every sort of time you decide to go for a change in look, change in this, you need to make sure your CV is updated with that. The difference with a beard and a beard off is huge. Long hair, short hair, change of hair colour difference. It's really important to make sure that your headshot on your CV is what you currently look like.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was a phase of people thinking, oh right, I can sort of put loads of makeup on now and things like that. No, you don't want to be going down that route. Generally, it's still quite natural. Of course, you can have a makeup artist when you go for these headshot shoots, but generally, again, if you're working with a proper headshot photographer, they will be advising that makeup artist, and they will not be allowing them to slap layers of makeup on you so you don't look anything like yourself. It will be natural touch-ups so that you don't look shiny, and yet your hair has found some good positions and good variation. Especially if you've got longer hair, you can get some nice looks, those sorts of things. But again, nothing crazy, nothing too airbrushed. Also, an important note to bear in mind, there is a difference between musical theatre headshots and acting headshots. Musical theatre headshots tend to have a bit more of a stylistic look, tend to be very smiley, and just bear that in mind depending on what it is you're doing. Here we're referring to screen acting, so criteria for those pictures can vary depending on the area of acting you're in. But with screen acting, it tends to be a natural look, pretty formulaic, nothing too characterised. Although I'm a bit on the fence about that. I think if you're a comedy actor, there is absolutely room for characterised headshots, and showing some expression.
Not just comedy. If you fall into a niche genre, for example, I think, of course, you can reinforce that, and that comes again to having that option when you're there. You can take the one that you think is going to go on your CV, which is that, and then you've got the rest that might be on Spotlight or any sort of other platform that will have various looks that suit various genres. And also that can be, long hair, short hair. When you're there, you can go with a full beard, first haircut, and then show someone what you look like clean shaven. Vice versa with women, hair up, hair down. Those subtle differences can play into they can almost play in different genres.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that's really nice to consider doing is getting your showreel done first, and then getting headshots done based on the scenes in your showreel. Because if you're playing a certain character in your showreel, and then you've got a headshot that sort of matches, maybe costume matches as well. And we're not saying dress up full costume, but a sort of a lean towards what that character's wearing and that look, and you go through that sort of mentality as you're having the picture done. You've got some nice interconnecting branding going on. You've got a picture to associate with a scene, and it's really going to help place you in terms of characters. So that's a good thing to consider. So that's headshots, and again we'll put some links down below to some recommended headshot photographers. Michael Shelford's a good one at the moment, as we said, YellowBelly, but we'll put a little list down below, and we might even put an article together on the news section of our website exploring perhaps in more detail some of the best headshot photographers in London at the moment. The next thing, your biography, which is an area where actors tend to want to write their life story and an autobiography, even though nobody's commissioned it yet.
Yes, it displays your passion, but my God, not for 3 pages.
No, not for 3 pages. That biography section is not for you to literally write out where it all began, the journey you've been on. It's a very brief, short 3-4 line introduction to who you are, where you're from, maybe mentioning your key education if you've had one in acting, and that's kind of it really.
Yeah, maybe what you want to pursue. You know, what's you know, you can touch upon, you know, skills, employability skills, but that's something that's always there. I'm flexible, I'm adaptable. You know, that's not going to make you stand out.
No, it's not.
You know, if you can condense yourself down into 3 sentences, that's more impactful than a big list, because it's like, right, this person's got their self down to a T. Here we go.
Yeah, and I think it's important that you write about yourself in a language that again represents you really, and how you operate as an actor. What is it like to work with you? Not coming back and saying, oh well, I'm adaptable, because every actor would say they're adaptable, even though you give them a note and, you know, they're not. But you know, every actor's going to say that about themselves. So yeah, really go away and think very long and hard about who you are in 3 sentences, as opposed to writing out a overindulgent list of your entire life story, which again nobody's really interested in.
Well, it's not relevant for the job. No. You know, it's because you're not playing yourself as an actor.
No.
Simply and truly, you're not playing yourself. It's not about how you are as a person. It's about what can you do. You know, what can you deliver. Yes, of course, there's that point element. You know, how easy are you to work with, because that's a different thing. But you know, you're here to play someone else. You want to show what you can do, what your education is, and reinforce everything that you say on your CV.
Yeah, which brings us on to the credits list and your skills and education list. Now, the credits list is as simple as that. And we did mention it at the beginning of the podcast. You've got a list of your credits, I think in date order, from newest being at the top through to oldest. Mm-hmm. If your credit list is, if you have to do this to look at it, it's too long, right? And it tends to get quite long for actors who have been around for a while. And I think when you've got a long list like that, it's time to go through that list and think, right, what are the credits on here that are worthwhile mentioning? Mm-hmm. You know, if there are smaller roles you've gone up for on independent projects, which perhaps you did a day on and you had a few lines, and since then you've gone on to do much bigger and better parts in soap operas or drama or film, those small one-liner parts don't need to be on there.
You can follow a simple rule. It's you know, if you were up for a job, would you be happy in showing that little clip from that credit you've just listed as your most relevant piece? Mm. It's like a piece from, you know, a play I did when I, you know, seven years ago. Would you be happy putting that in front and going, that's me? Yeah. If not, see you later. Yeah. And you can tailor it as well. If you did something really big, you know, 3 years ago and then followed on by shorts, maybe you can, you know, isolate that and as a highlight, and then list the others in order. Yeah. But yeah, as Nathan says, you really need to siphon down some of those ones. Rein it in, will you? Because yeah, a lot of them are not going to be relevant, and a lot of them are just taking up space that you can fill other things with. Yeah,
completely. Name of the project, the director, the date, and if it's a big production company, mention them as well, and the role you played. Yeah. And that's it. Job done. Nice and simple. Mm-hmm. Condensed. Use a layout that's going to enable a credit to only take up a small row of space. It doesn't need to fall down under one another. Use columns to divide it up. And again, these templates will help you do that. And then the next area is education and skill set. If you've got education, if you've been to a drama school, of course that's going to be on there. Your list of skills will include what we mentioned earlier in terms of, you know, if you've got combat skills, firearms training, driving license, these are skills that should be on there.
Yeah. We always say, you know, the skills need to be relevant to the job. You know, and when we say job, it's, you know, acting skills. What extra education have you done towards that? Any courses, diplomas, drama school, things like that. We don't need to be. You know, you don't need to list English or maths or science. No. You know, it's about going towards what you're doing as an actor. That's what's crucial. And yeah, the skills, all the employability skills. You know, you don't need to say you're flexible or adaptable. I'm here, I'm there. It's logistical attributes that will enhance you as an actor.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because more and more people I'm seeing are adding in the education section shorter courses that they're attending. It's not just drama schools you're seeing now. And you know what? There's been a number of actors I've worked with who haven't even got drama school on their full stop. They've just got shorter courses, whether it's courses that we run, whether it's other places, some of the shorter courses that Lambda and RADA run. That has been their training, that's been their education, and they're working and they're succeeding. Actually, there's an article you can check out which we just posted recently on our website. We'll stick a little link up in the top corner for you, and it talks about the relevance of shorter courses. Are they worth it, and the importance of attending training between work. And I think, again, that is something that's useful on a CV. When you're mentioning some of these classes that you've attended, put the date there. Because if I'm looking at an actor and I think, right, they've got a big gap in work here, why have they done it? They've done a job in 2018 and then they've not done anything until 2020. Yeah. Well, what happened in 2019? Why have you got a big gap there? Were you rubbish for a year? Did you have a meltdown? Oh no, right, they were attending training. Brilliant. That's somebody who's maintaining their skill set, who's trying to improve as an actor, and is reinvested in themselves. So these training courses that you attend, make sure that they're dated, because you could do firearms training in 2015. You've not done any work since then that's included firearms training. Chances are how it works is probably out of date, because it's something that changes quite regularly. And you've not handled a prop gun or anything like that since, so you're going to be rusty on it, and those are important factors. So make sure that things like that are dated.
And I think that's the CV. Following on from what we've just spoke about there, and showreel courses, that's another element of a CV. I would almost call it a showreel. A showreels are just displaying your skills as an actor in genres, scenes, character types, anything like that.
So that brings us to a close on episode 1 of our Importance of Marketing episodes. How many of these we say episode 1 of? We don't know.
Keep your eye out.
Keep your eye out. There could be hundreds. Probably like 4.
Part 75.
Yeah, I know, yeah. We've died. The podcast has got a new set of presenters. It's like this morning, we're getting recast every day. Scandalous,
Scandalous reports.
Scandalous reports on both of us. So we'll be following up with some more episodes. This was the first, touching on CVs. Check out down below our links to some useful information such as CV layout, some of the best headshot photographers, and a supporting article of everything that we've talked about in today's episode, so that you can read it as well if you're sick of our voices. We get it. We hope you enjoyed today. If you have any questions for us, as ever, please leave them in the comments section down below. And the next episode, we will be talking about showreels. Hot topic. So make sure you are subscribed to that. Check out the news section of the Actor Studio website. That's at actorstudio.co.uk for more useful information. And we can't wait to see you soon. That's it. See you later. Goodbye.